Have you ever farted?
All the time.
Dude, don't answer. You're ruining the joke.
Oh.
Alright, fuck it. Welcome to the podcast. This is Soap with a special guest. We got Justin Garcia, a raging crow with a fro. You know this guy. He's been a LCS, Last Comic Standing, a couple of times. He does Big Laughs in Little Tokyo. He's in part of the anime comedy circuit. He's a funny guy. He's improving faster than anyone else that I've seen so far. And he's on the show today, which I'm doing on a Monday for some reason, which I never do. And yet here we are. So how you doing?
I'm alright. How about yourself, man? And apparently I fart, for everybody who didn't hear that earlier.
It was a part. I was trying to open up with an absurd joke instead of just an opening intro, but I forgot to mention it to you so you wouldn't interrupt me. But all right. Oh, that's always flattering. Man, I burp on every podcast now.
I've come to notice that, actually.
Really?
That or bathroom breaks.
Although those always. Well, I mean, sometimes these things go on for like 3 hours. When I'm on with Brian, who's the normal co-host, like they go on for like 3 or 4, sometimes 6 hours, because we end up talking to other people. We bring on other people on and have different shows and split the podcast up into different separate shows. So yeah, we do that a lot. But this is a work night, so this can't go on for 3 or 6 hours, for me anyways.
Yeah, I can't even talk to you for 6 hours. I run out of stuff to say.
Yeah, I start forgetting words. I mean, I think my vocabulary has about 2 hours worth of words, and then I start killing people. Oh man, I shouldn't have said that because now it's recorded.
Oh no, you're gonna be like that one dude who's shooting the cops, only you're a comedian.
If anybody dies around me, I'm gonna get blamed for it. Okay, so anyway, back to the point. So what's going on? What have you been up to?
Actually, finished recording some stuff for Danny's Big Laughs in Little Tokyo that happened the other day. Really good stuff, actually. You should have been there. You could have came down.
I heard it was there were a lot of new people, and that did you hear the one I had with Trong?
Actually, yes, I did.
Yeah, so you know that's the thing. People say I burn bridges, but I'm just trying to build them, really.
I was like, what?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people were kind of shocked by it. I don't know why. It's like it's nothing. Nothing is personal. I'm way too old to take shit personally. I'm too old to have enemies.
Yeah, I don't know. I come to look at it as like, I noticed the comedy conventions page, and when you say nothing's personal, maybe for you, but I see for other people, some things might be personal.
Yeah, and that's their problem. It doesn't bother me, though. It's like, this is part of what makes me, I think, because my doctors are starting to say that I might, the people are starting to suggest I might be in the autistic spectrum of, Asperger's or whatever, but I think I'm just an asshole. But, I don't care if what I say makes you feel bad, because in my head, that's your problem, because I'm not intending to hurt you. So if you get hurt, then you need to get over it, because that's not what... But yeah, you are right. People take things personally. Just because I don't doesn't mean the world doesn't. So something I have to think about.
And you've even said it yourself. What was that? You lost a fan because they're like, oh my god, are you like this?
Yeah. She was some broad. And I just said whatever snarky remark, and she was disappointed that I was honest. I guess she thought it was like yaoi fans. They always dream about the guys that look like girls, but once they actually get them and realize they don't know how to fuck, then you're like, why am I with you? That's fucking true. I mean, there are so many pretty boys that don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they work so hard at being pretty boys that they forget how to be men.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, but anyways. What were you saying?
I was just agreeing with you. I've known quite a few people who are like that, actually.
It's like, in my opinion, not to toot my own horn because I can't give myself a blowjob, I think I make a good blend of being a pretty boy faggot, but not losing the, if you talk shit to me... Well, first of all, I don't give a shit. But if, you slap my woman, I'm probably going to stab you in the foot just so you're pinned down. and while you're running around in circles, I shit on your other foot. I don't know, something weird.
Yeah.
But don't.
Girlfriend loves your legs.
Yeah, everyone loves my legs. What can I say? They're good legs.
Mm.
That's why I show them off. So I heard that you had a rebuttal, if you will, about a show I did with Fazio.
Actually, I did, because, I'm coming out of Danny's group. Danny was the guy who gave me my start, so, I owe him, a lot.
Let me stop you there, right quick. You remember in the Matrix Reloaded when I forget the guy's name, but he said, Neo, you brought me out of the Matrix, you saved me or something. Actually, it wasn't Reloaded, it was Animatrix, and he's like, no, kid, you saved yourself.
Yeah, that was in Reloaded too. You're right.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. No disrespect to D-Boy, but you did it. He didn't. Don't give him credit for making you, because then he'll just get a bigger head, and he doesn't need that. His hats don't fit him already. So you just seized an opportunity that presented itself. Give yourself the credit. You're the one doing the work.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I don't I have to say in the morning I had the balls to at least get up on stage, which I thought doing comedy and getting on stage would be easy, because I'm a singer, I'm a musician, I'm in a band, so I'm on stage a lot as it is.
Yeah, I've seen your pictures of your band stuff. I was like, wow, this guy actually has talent. I mean, no disrespect. I think you're getting much better as a comic. I've actually laughed at you more than anyone in you want to say Danny's group. Than anyone else. So, and it's hard to make me actually laugh, because I don't have a sense of humor.
I don't know. It's just like when I hear the term Danny's group, I kind of feel like that's an unfair title.
It is.
There are so many people who are considered Danny's group.
Yeah, and I don't
doing their own thing.
It's unfair to the people themselves. It really is. To be associated with, it's one thing to be me and G are friends, and we've done comedy shows together for 3 years in a row. Just the two of us going up one after the other.
Yeah.
So you could say I'm part of G's group, but nobody does, because we have our own identities and we're so different. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe the biggest thing is a lot of when you're starting in comedy, you don't have an identity, because you have to find out what it is. And it's just, if you're working with the same person over and over, you just get bunched into the group. You're judged by the company you keep, that term. So
yeah.
It's unfair, because I don't see you as I don't see you as someone who's in Danny's crew. Like Dennis, I don't think is in Danny's crew. I think Dennis is Dennis, and if he wants to go off on his own, he easily could. After that talk with Trung, I'm seeing him as his own person now. So it's like, I don't think Danny's a kingpin who's cranking out comedians. I don't see that at all anymore. So I don't like that term to begin with, to be fair. But go on.
And I like the fact that, he gives us an opportunity to do shows. Obviously we get open mics, which is fine. Some of us aren't really able to branch out from the anime scene, which I'm actually trying to do.
Good.
I'm starting to get sick of it myself.
I'm glad. Because I say that because I want people that I know who are doing it with me. Because the only people I have are Fazio and Damien, and that's pretty much the only people I really know. And to find other people who I'm starting with that are actually trying to take it seriously is it's a support group. Because all the great comedians know each other. They all kind of came out of the same, in my opinion, my versions of the great comedians now that exists but might be dead, Patrice O'Neill, Nick DiPaolo, Jim Norton, Bill Burr, I know people are going to shit on me for this, but Dane Cook.
Dane Cook, when he started off, was bad as shit.
He was. But all those people started in the same area and they grew up together, and I think that's what we're doing. And if there are people that are actually separating from the anime scene and trying to do it for real, I'm really excited about that, because that means the support group is growing, which is a great thing.
Yeah, because the anime scene itself is, it's absolutely dismal.
Excuse me. It's horseshit. No, that was rude. I should have muted the microphone. Oh well. So much for thinking. It's horseshit. Listen, anime is not funny. It's hard to make it's hard to make fun of the autistic kid who's trying to rollerblade. You know what I mean? Because he does it himself. You know, you laugh. You don't need to add to that. You just point and laugh. It's like, wow, that is hilarious. And it's not because it's good or intentionally hilarious. It's so retarded. It's hilarious. And that's what most anime is. And anime fans in general, you know, they go in, oh, talk about anime more. No. And I'm gonna mock. I want to make you feel bad about liking what you like. That's how I see it.
Because the thing about it is, it's the same. If you think about it, it's the same fucking jokes every time. Mm-hmm. It's like DBZ reference, Pokemon reference, DBZ reference, Pokemon reference, Bleach, something involving Naruto, poke fun at the Homestuck kids, Hatalia joke reference. You know, and it becomes like a sausage factory. It's just like, you know, make one, make another, make another, make another. Yeah. And I don't know. It's to me, I just like I love LCS. Don't get me wrong. Moss and them are doing like some bomb ass shit. You know, but I just can't stand the audience. I can't.
They're I'm with you there to a point. Half of the audience get it because from what I saw last year, half of the audience were there that got it. And then the other half were like, this is an anime. And yeah, those people kind of need to be filtered out. In my opinion, I think it would be great if the LCS turned into sort of a break from anime for a moment. For a 3-hour break from anime. And you just get people who were brought in from anime. And just, it's like giving them a drink to relax, something out of the element, just to shake them up for a minute. I think that would be a great idea, like a break. And actual people who try actual comedy can try actual comedy, and it's like, what are you mad about? You didn't pay for it, so, and you don't have to go to it. So if you're like, oh, you're not talking about anime enough, then don't fucking show up. Go fuck yourself. There's billions of other stupid anime screenings of DVDs that you already own or torrenting right now that you can go watch with other nobodies and act like you're being sociable, but you're not really talking to any of them. You know, so it's like, fuck you, you know, fuck you all. But I don't really mean that. First of all, let me just make this clear. My fans, you know, I have so few that I know them by name and I love them. So I'm just gonna make that clear. Now, okay, let's move on.
I mean, okay, the way I see it, I agree that half the audience gets it. But that half of the audience isn't the most vocal. You have the tards who are in, like, the middle rows in the back who are just like, hey, say something about, I don't know, the newest dumb thing that the people watch. I am not an anime fan by any means. I've watched some stuff, but I think the newest thing I ever watched was One Piece, and that came out, 10 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. It's been a while.
Yeah, so, I guess I'm out of the loop. I don't know what you kids are doing these days.
Yeah, it's like, I don't like anime, but I like good things. Just like, I don't like sci-fi, but I like good things. I loved Blade Runner, happened to be sci-fi. Yep. I loved Neuromancer, happened to be cyberpunk. I loved Grave of the Fireflies, happened to be anime. So I think it's kind of an arrogant thing to say I love anime, because you don't. You love certain shows. That makes more sense. And you go to Anime Expo. I go to Anime Expo, A, to drink, and B, to cosplay. That's it. I don't go to see anime. And if I happen to come across an anime that I think looks interesting... First of all, I don't even watch anime anymore. I read manga. And I don't read manga. I read Korean comics because, for some reason, their stories are always better. I don't know why that... Like, Priest was the only comic that I made a point to get every single issue, every single graphic novel. It was that good, and maybe it's because it's a Western. I get huge hard-ons for Westerns, but it was good. Have you read Priest?
I have not, actually.
It's awesome, and there's so many good Korean comics. What is it, manhwa or something? I don't speak Korean. But there's so many good ones in Korean ones, and Beck isn't. I don't think. I think it's Japanese, but Beck is a good one too.
Yeah, I think Beck is Japanese.
Yeah, that's a good one, though. There's some good stuff out there, but there's so much crap. It's just ridiculous, and then people buy into it just because it's got the big eyes and shit, and I'm like, hey, go fuck yourself.
And honestly, when you bring up the fact that LCS should take like a 3-hour break, and yeah, I agree when you say they're not paying for it, because if you go to like the Laugh Factory, or you go to the Comedy Store, you're dropping $10 for a ticket, you're dropping another $5 for 2 minimum drinks, or, you know, depending on what you're feeling that night. Be grateful that, you know, you're getting 3 hours of a free show, and you don't have to wait for like your one friend to hopefully get his set on if he brought enough people.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's something we could bring up to Masa. Since I'm judging this year, I feel like I have some say in something, which I don't. You know, no one's going to listen to me, but that's a good thing to throw out. Maybe I will, and probably in doing so, I'll ostracize myself from being a part of the community, and I'll never be a part of the LCS ever again.
But then everyone will ask, "Where is Soap?" Not knowing your real name.
Yeah, I know. You know, I think about that. I wonder if people would, I've been talking to Masa for a while. I don't want to compete again. I've won. I'm done. But I want to be a part of the show. I want to help somehow. So I've been asking him, how can I work for the show somehow? Because I want to be a part of it, but I don't want to compete, because for me, I think that's, once you've won, why do you need to do it again? At that point, if you won the Intercontinental Championship and then lost it, why would you go back for it? Shouldn't you go for the World Championship after that?
Yeah.
So that's how I see it, and so I've won the Intercontinental. I don't need to be a 2-time Intercontinental champ, because that just means I'm a no-time World Champ.
Unless you're a permanent jobber.
Like, what are we, sailors now?
You know, like, I don't know if you watch wrestling now, but like...
Not as much.
Yeah, I don't watch it too much, but I know there's people who are like never going to get that World Championship title. Now it's limited to 6 people.
You mean the mid-carders?
Yeah.
Back in my day, that's what we called them, mid-carders. And mid-carders are always the best because they took the biggest risks.
Like Mr. Perfect and shit.
Oh yeah, good old dead Mr. Perfect.
Yep.
And dead Rick Rude, dead Eddie Guerrero, dead Louis Spicoli.
Why are they all dead?
You know, on top of drugs, I actually think they're worked too hard. Like I think their line of work works them to death. I actually think that.
Well, look at Benoit, and even anybody who's out there saying, "Oh, Benoit, he's a..." Shut up. No. Benoit, everybody saw the autopsy. Dude had a brain the size of a 70-year-old Alzheimer's patient, and it looked like fucking Swiss cheese.
He was a sick person, and that's what happened with a combination of the drugs and I think the workload. First of all, Chris Benoit was a wonderful person when he was good. And everyone will say that. And he was an incredible wrestler. He was an incredible talent. He came out of the dungeon. And if you don't know what the dungeon is, then I'm not going to explain it. I know you know.
Oh, please. If anybody doesn't know what the dungeon... First off, they should know what the dungeon is now.
Yeah, if you don't know... As a listener, if you don't know what the dungeon is, you need to do some education, because that's where wrestling starts. Everyone came out of it. Bret Hart, all the Harts, Chris Jericho... I mean, the list is enormous. Everyone went to Stu Hart and got their ass beat back in the day. God bless his soul. And you know, now that we're talking about wrestling, it seems like ever since Stu Hart died, the spirit of wrestling as it was went with him.
Yeah, that and a few other people.
Yeah,
you notice now, wrestling is now... Well, now that Triple H is gone...
Is he?
Literally, yeah, he's not wrestling anymore.
He's just behind the scenes now.
I think they want him to run it when Vince McMahon kicks the bucket.
That does make sense, because he married into the family.
Oh, yeah. You know, he's secure for life.
Yeah.
But it's now John Cena, and apparently the Big Show.
Oh, the Big Show's making something now. You know, I like the Giant. I still call him the Giant.
I actually like that name more than the Big Show.
Me too. I like the Giant. He's good on the mic, and he's imposing, and he choke slams. What more do you need?
Well, he doesn't choke slam anymore.
Oh, is that illegal now?
Well, no. Now he does the punch. His finishing is the punch.
Yeah, he's old. He can't move as well.
I miss when Taker was in his prime. That dude needs to retire too.
Oh, when he could walk on the ropes. Like, he takes 3 steps now. He used to take like 7 or 8 back in the day. Like, remember, I think WrestleMania 3? When maybe it wasn't WrestleMania. It was one of the earlier WrestleManias. He came out with like a staff that was on fire and it had a raven on it.
Oh, yeah.
That moment made me golf. That moment. And then I started doing the makeup. I grew out my hair long. I embraced death. The Undertaker used to be so cool. Like, his version of hulking out was just kind of like rising from the dead.
Yep.
Oh, he was just the best. Even the fake
gimmick. It was the best gimmick.
It was. It really was. And even the fake Undertaker was kind of cool. When he had his stint, the redheaded one.
Oh, yeah.
He was cool. You know?
Oh, God, I remember that. Ted DiBiase's fake Undertaker.
Yeah. Remember when Kane was the Undertaker's brother?
Remember when Kane had that mask, and if you removed it, it was so horrifying?
Yeah, and now he's just some ugly guy with the black makeup. And that he still has that. Does he still have that half-shaved head?
No, they gave him back the mask with like hair attached.
With hair attached to it because he couldn't grow it out fast enough.
Well, I don't
Poor
think it's the same Kane.
Yeah, it's I want to say TNA is where it's at, but it's not. TNA is fucking up a lot.
Hulk Hogan in it, of course it's not.
Well, Hulk Hogan needs money. He's got no money.
Yeah,
his wife took it.
Kicking his ass, same as Ric Flair.
Ric Flair's old. He needs it. First of all, don't say shit about the Nature Boy.
I love Ric Flair, but that dude's got more alimony payments than anything.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you're a philanderer. And let me say this: Sting, as of right now, he has the most integrity out of anyone in wrestling.
Oh yeah, never went to WWE.
He never sold out. Sting is still an idol of mine, and because for one thing, he's alive still.
Yeah.
And where's Sabu? Is he still banned from the U.S.?
Sabu, I don't know, because I don't know if they brought him back for that ECW thing at TNA.
ECW was at TNA?
They brought back ECW for TNA for a little bit, and it was like, the only person who could actually still wrestle was Rhino. It was Rhino.
Rhino was awesome. Rhino was cool.
They had Rhino, the Dudleys, who was it? That main guy who, like, nobody gave a fuck about.
Tommy Dreamer?
Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer used to be badass.
Yeah, but then after a while, like, for the remaining part of his career afterwards, he was just like, I'm Tommy Dreamer, I guess.
It's the WWE's fault.
Yeah.
ECW was the shit, man. The original. I remember importing. You remember RF Video?
I think so.
RF Video was basically a garage pirate company that basically illegally recorded the good shit. The UWF, ECW, all those underground things, and they recorded it and they sold it to people who were in the know. And I remember subscribing to them, and I would get literally recorded film. Like, they would go to like Long's or CVS and buy a blank tape and record a series of episodes and pay-per-views, because ECW was northeast of the continental U.S. and I've always been in San Francisco, so I would import it from them, and it was so awesome back then. It was so cool. What is it? Not Devon Dudley. Who was that fucking guy? He was the guy that hit the other guy with the kitchen sink with he was the tag team member with Mustafa Saeed.
Give me a minute.
God, I can't remember. But like, he actually stabbed someone in the ring, and he got arrested for it.
Sounds about right.
But it was part of the bit. They planned it, but oh man, ECW was the shit. Oh, back in the day. Oh, it was awesome.
Then Vince bought it, and he just said, fuck it.
Well, you gotta make it family friendly, otherwise it's not gonna make money.
And then you realize what's the purpose. It's called Extreme Championship Wrestling. How do you make that family friendly?
Isn't CW Punk like the leader of ECW now?
Well, ECW doesn't exist, but yeah, pretty much Punk is the main thing that's still around from ECW, and he's doing really well.
Oh, it doesn't exist now?
Nah.
It died back in 1998, really.
Yeah, well, the company, they tried to keep it going. I think the last thing I remember them doing was Christian had the title forever, Kurt Angle was on it for a little bit, and this new guy named Bobby Lashley. Then it folded.
Oh, they fired him so quick. You know about that, right?
Bobby Lashley?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They fired him so quick just because he wanted more money, because they don't pay black people. They don't.
Well, if you think about it, how many black people in wrestling are there?
There was Harlem Heat.
No, you just have Booker T, but he's not wrestling anymore.
Really?
No, he's a manager now. He's a GM.
Well, he's old. He's been around a long time. He's earned the right to be a manager. But there's no Stevie Ray anymore, I guess.
No, Stevie Ray never caught on after WCW folded.
WCW had the greatest hype. Remember Blitzkrieg?
I loved the fucking WCW, and Blitzkrieg was freaking awesome.
Oh, he was so fucking cool. The cruiserweight division of WCW was WCW. They brought over La Parca. They brought over Juventud Guerrera.
Psychosis.
Psychosis. So many awesome AAA and CMLL wrestlers. And
Chavo had a purpose.
Chavo used to be awesome. And they had Hector for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Hector Guerrero, and he was the one that pioneered, what is it? The rolling cradle. You know that move?
Oh yeah.
He did that. The first time I saw him do it, I think it was against Eddie, and I was like, holy shit! How do you not throw up after that? The rolling cradle is crazy. Mexican wrestling is the shit. Mexican and Japanese wrestling. I think WCW. No. ECW had Jinsei Shinzaki, who was also known as Hakushi back in WWF,
mm-hmm.
and Hayabusa. Remember Hayabusa from Man, Hayabusa. He became M or H or something after he lost it.
What happened to these cruiserweights? Like, whatever happened to these people?
I don't know. Rey Mysterio put on weight. Like, he's my height, so when I was growing up, watching him wrestle, it gave me hope. Like, someone that small could still make it. And then he got all bulky and like...
He totally roided out.
He did. But I still like him, and I still respect him because I know the family. My mom is friends with Ray Sr. So, San Diego, all that Mexican shit, we're all tied together. I mean,
I'm still wondering how he's going to keep it up because he's got, like, no freaking cartilage in his knee, and he's back in the ring again.
Well, he's not. He's going to be out. He's going to be done. It's an unnatural business to do it as much as they do, and I think the wrestling itself has screwed itself because it's given people a certain amount of demand where they expect weekly shows and stuff. And back in the day, it wasn't like that. With Bruno Sammartino and all the old greats, it wasn't like that. Really.
It really wasn't. It was... You had different companies who would go on at different times. Wrestlers could do whatever like, you had Andre who toured whenever he felt like it because he was like a national treasure.
Andre Legion. I mean, you heard about the stories in France where he would, like, throw cars when he was drunk?
Oh, God. That sounds like about right.
Like, well, French cars, it's Europe, it's smaller, but the idea of a human throwing a car, it's like, he was like a troll. He definitely was an icon. There were so many. Ricky Steamboat, he was such an idol of mine when I was younger.
And Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh, he was so cool. Man, wrestling is not cool anymore. It is not what it used to be.
And what's sad is you see the people who are remnants of legends not doing anything.
Like, Randy Orton.
I can't fucking stand Randy Orton, and I never will.
The Giant Killer. Do they still call him the Giant Killer?
No, he went through the Giant Killer, the Legend Killer. He's the Viper now, and he hears voices.
Ugh.
That's his shtick.
The writing has gotten so bad.
Well, they hire the same freaking 5 writers to write the same thing yearly, so...
Not necessarily. Patrice O'Neal was a writer for WWE for a while.
When was this? Was this during, like, the Attitude Era?
I don't know. No, it was later. It must have been later, but he was a writer for WWE for like 2 years. And the only reason why he quit was because, he didn't want to do what Vince wanted him to do. Let me say on record, I have the utmost respect for Vince McMahon as a businessman. From what I've heard from Patrice O'Neal, he deserves the respect that he gets. He definitely deserves it.
Oh yeah, well he's got a really good head for business. He freaking bought up everything and has turned a profit on everything he's purchased.
He deserves respect. He deserves the respect that he demands from people. But in doing that, he's killed wrestling.
Yeah, it's like you're a great businessman, but when it comes to actually having your wrestlers do different things, I don't know, you kind of have this same gimmick going on daily. Like, he hires the same type of people all the time.
Not black people.
Not black people, and
Yeah.
they have to be about 200, 300 pounds.
And he doesn't pay them.
Nope.
I think he just gives them, like, lashings and then puts them back in the plantation every night.
And tells him to kiss his ass.
Yeah. Well, no, don't say that, because, listen, I respect Vince McMahon. So I don't want to say he's a racist, but someone in there is.
I just like it back in the day when he would drop them. He would drop Trout and be like, "Pucker up, damn it, kiss my ass."
Oh, yeah, that was good. You know what? I think, first of all, The Rock is back periodically. I think that's great. I think The Rock has almost as much power as McMahon in terms of intimidation, because Dwayne Johnson has a temper.
Yeah.
He's got a huge temper. And Vince McMahon knows that. And if you piss off The Rock, he's probably not going to take it well. So Vince kind of... You got to buckle it. You got to know your limits. And The Rock is everyone's limit.
Yeah, I don't know. My thing with The Rock is, okay, recent pay-per-view, he beat, who was it, CM Punk for the title. So now WrestleMania is going to be John Cena versus The Rock, Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, didn't we already see this?
John Cena is such a joke. He doesn't... I'm not happy with him. There's so many other people that just could have gotten pushed.
But what's funny is he knows it. He knows it. He knows what the internet says about his ass.
You remember when he used to rap?
Yeah, I do.
God,
I remember when he made a pretty decent heel.
Even for like a month.
I love the feud he had with The Undertaker. That was such a good feud.
I miss ECW. I miss the real, but 1994 through 96 ECW. I miss the Sandman. I miss the Blood. I miss Bam Bam Bigelow versus Bam Bam Brody, I think. That match, and then I missed that there was one match where I think Devon was smashed through like 7 tables from a rooftop, and oh man, ECW. Nobody did it better.
No, nobody did. But see, now it's like, now you can't bleed in the ring because the match gets stopped.
Really? Is that what happens now?
That's actually a stipulation, I believe, in WWE, where if a wrestler gets busted open, match is over.
There's no gladiators anymore.
Nah. You don't have the bladers anymore, man.
Yeah, where they would pull out the razor, or they would get it from the ref and just kind of nick themselves.
Mm-hmm. Nobody did that shit better than Flair, though. Nobody.
Oh, but he knew his body. He knew where the veins were, and he would gush. And
that dude would blade for, like, at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
At the drop of his coat, he would blade.
Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, was he's still one of my favorites. I love him. I love his arrogance. I love his platinum blonde hair, his 7 wives. He's the Nature Boy.
Yep.
He's the only one that could make a figure 4 leg lock look convincing.
Oh, yeah. And he can sell. He can freaking sell an ass beating.
Has he ever done a turnbuckle attack successfully?
No.
Like, every time he climbs the turnbuckle, someone magically gets up and throws him off of it.
Oh, he's so good at that.
I know, and then he would like feign injury, and then like punch you in the balls, and then he was the best. Like when he would fake injury, like cower, and then poke you in the eyes. Oh, he's such an inspiration for me. Like he's just the best. Okay, but we shouldn't be talking about wrestling on this.
Yeah,
podcast.
we've done that for like 20 minutes.
but I wanted to keep this short, but it's not working. Okay, so let's get to the point of this podcast, which was.
Let's do that.
What was it? We should do another one though, like on Friday or something, where let's just go off.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, we really should, because I haven't talked to another wrestling fan who actually knows wrestling in a long time.
Yeah, I only have very few friends who I can talk to that about. Very few.
Yeah. Okay, but back to the point.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rebuttal from Fazio and my outlook on the last podcast, what was that about?
Okay, so you guys were talking about, and I actually wanted to ask, did you really think that this last LCS was probably the worst one?
I don't think it was the worst, but it was it was personally my not best performance because of what everyone else did. It seemed like everyone else was doing my thing. And it sounds arrogant, but that's what it felt like. And when I got up on stage, I've said this before, when I got up on stage, I wanted to throw everything that I had prepared out and improvise, because everything I had was what everyone was doing. It was like they were like, it's like, oh God, am I rubbing off on people and not in a fun way, like a facial? It was
Rub
weird.
it all in.
Yeah, it's good for the skin. But I don't think it was the worst, but it was. I'm ashamed that was the year that I won. I wish I had won in 2011, because in my opinion that was my best performance there.
See, I thought 2011 was probably the worst one because, okay, the first 5, that first set was great. You know, Jake, Yazzie, you, like, that set was great. I thought the last 5 was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's my problem. And then you had, you know, poor guy, Hunter.
Yeah, he just froze.
Yeah, and it's like, that to me, I look at this LCS, it's like, yo, people got laughs, you know, we had some mishaps, you know, Trung did his thing, Matt did his thing, Danny did his thing, it may not have worked, it may have worked, but, you know, I think the crowd reaction might have spoke for itself, at least in my perspective. You know, we got laughs, a lot of these people, some of these people are new, who have never done LCS before, aren't used to big-ass crowds. This is my first time seeing Pierce. Pierce fucking rocked it.
Yeah, he was. Well, Pierce is naturally. Him and Chet are both just great.
Yeah.
Chet's his brother. They're just awesome. I love them both. I would suck their dicks if they were gay.
Well, now they know that.
I think they always kind of knew.
But, you know, it was very interesting to see newer people whom, I don't know if they were doing necessarily your thing, but they probably doing what they thought was natural. I know in my set, I took a lot of cheap shots because I was freaking butchering my own material the whole con.
I think I told you this after you came up. I think you did well, but I think like the energy you had for what you were saying didn't kind of match. You know, like that's the kind of if you have that kind of energy, you should be talking about punching through someone's face. You know, not anime.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where I kind of get my influences from my favorite comedians, Richard Pryor and Red Fox. Like,
Red Fox.
I love Red Fox. When I was a kid, I would actually listen to that "You Got to Wash Your Ass" record over and over and over.
My mom's mother actually forbade her children to listen to Red Fox because of how brutal he was back in the day.
Oh, that was, like, to me, the purest example of someone who didn't give a fuck. And I've always wanted to incorporate that, but I'm trying to write an anime set, I'm trying to write a comic set or a fighting game set, and I'm just like, my jokes about talking shit about cosplayers just aren't flowing right, and it's nerve-wracking.
You gotta work at it. I mean, it doesn't come naturally. You have to practice. I mean, I'm a natural asshole, but it's not funny being a natural asshole. It's just being an asshole. The trick is learning how to be funny with it.
Yeah.
But Red Fox, man, he's so funny.
Oh, fuck.
Or he was. He shouldn't have died. They should have killed. They should have killed. Fucking. I don't know. someone else, not Red Fox.
A lot of people I could put on that shopping block.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where, like, I'm still trying to find I guess, what my niche is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's good that you actually admit that. It's good that you admit you're still discovering yourself, because a lot of people won't do that, and it's good that you are. Trung's doing the same thing. That's why I think both of you. That's why I gained respect for him, because he admitted his faults. If you can man up to your faults, you deserve respect.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're saying, I don't know exactly where I am yet, you're on the way. I think you can be really working it.
Yeah, because I always wanted to be that guy. You know, I always wanted to be the Richard Pryor kind of guy where I could bust into a story and take like 10 minutes of your time telling a story. And because I used to love his Mudbone sketch.
Yeah,
You know,
I know what you're talking about.
And the Mudbone was a person from Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yeah, and he would sit down and do the whole talk and but no, not everyone can do that.
And I realized that.
Very few people can do that.
Because it takes a special type of person to keep your interest.
It really does. He was like a drugged out Bill Cosby.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And Bill Cosby was good. I don't care what anyone says. Bill Cosby is a good storyteller.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. Mad respect for Bill Cosby.
But you're absolutely right, and everyone should listen to you. You have to acknowledge the fact everyone who's doing this comedy thing has to acknowledge the fact that they probably don't know what they are when they're starting. I've mentioned this before in the podcast. When I started, I wanted to be Greg Giraldo, and I learned I'm not. So I'm growing into myself, and I'm soap. What can I say?
Yeah. But see, my thing was like when y'all were talking about like, I believe this is Fazio who said this, was like everyone who comes out of Danny's group is a bunch of nobodies, and I'm just like, but you got people who are doing Danny shows like Yazzie, you got people who are like Trung who freaking rocked his last two performances. You know, I don't. This is kind of like my problem with the comedy and conventions page, is because so many people, there's too many egos. I don't know if that's fair to say, but it feels like there's way too many egos butting heads on what they think is funny, what they don't think is funny, and then everybody just kind of splinters off, and nobody freaking wants to work with anybody.
Yeah.
Avoid that comedy and conventions page like the plague now.
Yeah, nobody goes there, and it's kind of depressing. We like I mentioned this in the last one I did. We really have to work together because we're all we have, and like the fact that you're branching out makes me want to hold on to you and not let you go, because we need more. G isn't doing it, and he needs to, because if he developed more, he could be out there in the world and have his audience, and then we would have another member of the support group. Then it sounds gay, but you need a support group. You can't do it alone.
It's freaking nerve-wracking in itself.
You can't go out there alone. It's awful. You have to have people watching. You have to have people on your back. And for the last 4 years, the only person I've had, well, that's not true. I've always had Fazio, and I have always been rivals and friends. So because he's doing it down in Malibu and shit, and I'm doing it here. And then G and we do it together, giggity, and
Lovely.
He comes a lot faster, fucking Asians. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
What it is, I gotta know what you are racially. I must know.
Really, ethnically,
you racially androgynous motherfucker. I need to know.
Okay. My sexual identity is gender fluid. So, it's pansexual. If I love you, I love you.
Okay.
I don't care. And ethnicity, do you really want me to go down the list?
Honestly, I need to hear this because I don't know.
To put it in simple terms, French Creole.
Ah,
It within French Creole is various native tribes, um, Italian, um, Haitian, French, obviously. God, what else? Sicilian, and there is a difference between
oh yeah.
Sicilian and Italian. Um, Somewhere in Africa, so there is black in me, and it's not just my heart. Um, oh, Jesus Christ. There's so many things in the French Creole. There's just so many things. And on my dad's side, Chinese, Italian. No, wait, no, not Italian. Irish, Scottish, um, again, Indian, Native American.
Mm.
Um,
I'm starting to think the list would have been shorter if I asked you what you don't have.
yeah, it's true. That's actually true. It is. Asking what I don't have, Ethiopian,
Oh.
and that might actually not be true.
So you might be able to run marathons, you might not be able to.
I might, yeah, I might be. I'll come in second at least.
Oh.
Yeah, you got the chops, man. If you work on it more, you need to. If you branch out, let's do shows. Let's get this shit going, because this community needs to grow out and branch out and really grow into another wave of postmodern comedy that's actually funny. I like Anthony Jeselnik, but that's pretty much it.
Mm. I don't know. It's like
Sorry.
for realness, out of the LCS group, the ones who made it last year when you won. What were your thoughts on them?
I liked Chris as a newcomer. I thought he was naturally funny. Pierce, obviously, he's not what I would never do what he does, but he does what he does well.
Yeah.
Jack Brazil, I'm a fan of. I will say that. I'm a fan of Jack Brazil. If he would just remember the jokes and not use the phone, the dude, he outclasses me, in my opinion. Who else? God, who else was there? G was good, but he was short. Something happened to him. He
got frantic, didn't he?
something got in his head, and he just gave up. And I don't know why, but he did.
And it was strange because I normally love hearing G.
He's not my style of comic, but I appreciate him because he does what I can't do, which is be likable. He is genuinely likable and funny, and I can't do that. If I'm likable or I'm funny, I can't be both. It's one or the other. Mm-hmm. So I choose to be funny and hated. That's just who I am. I appreciated what Danny tried to do last year, but I don't think it worked. I thought if you either had less energy or more hard-hitting jokes, you would be up there. You still are, because I can see, obviously, you're working. That's all you need. As long as you're actually working at it, you're not just winging it. Like I said, I have respect for Trung now, but back then, when he started, I was nodding my head, no, it's shticky. And who else was there? Matthew Johnson. Matthew Johnson has never made me laugh. And, to be honest, I think he's kind of thin-skinned. I think he might be a little too thin-skinned to be a comic. A little too emotional. Because, in my opinion, I think if you heckle him, it'll break him. It won't fire him up. When I'm heckled enough, I turn into, a monster. And I talk people into eating disorders. I enjoy it because it gives me a challenge and a target to attack, which is what I like to do. And Matthew Johnson, he just seems kind of shticky, See,
I love Matt. He's a close friend of mine.
He's a great person. I actually do like him as a person, but as a comic, he's never made me laugh.
Well, he's kind of got that comedy style that I've come to notice very and I've actually talked to him about this, so he can't get butthurt at me. But I've talked to him. He's got like a very stereotypical type of "oh, it's 'cause I'm black" shtick, and it works for some people, but it grows old.
It gets old. Yeah, it does.
Which is why I talk to Matt all the time, and I'm like, which I was glad at PMX he actually did a new routine, which was great.
I wish I saw it. That's good.
The video's online. I think I'll send it to you.
It's so good that people that were like all of us, like the mainstays, are adapting and trying to grow. That's such a good thing.
And that's what I want to see more, because that was the main problem I had with the podcast with you and Fozzie, was it just seemed Fozzie was very dismissive of everybody. Like, these are a bunch of nobodies. They shouldn't be doing the anime circuit. Fuck them. That's not how I saw it.
To his credit, the reason why I agree with him is because we are nobodies, in my opinion. I think we're all amateurs.
Of course.
Between all of us, Danny, G, Fazio, and myself, I think have the most experience in terms of doing this.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. Nobody cares about us. They might care about Danny because he whores himself out on Facebook, but nobody cares about us. Nobody cares. People care about G not because of his comedy, but because of his voice acting, because he's like a pro voice actor. But nobody cares about Fazio and myself. When we go to open mics, I'm sure Fazio gets the same shit that I do. People look at us funny, they look at us, and then, what I do is, I'm like, you don't look at me like that? Well, fuck you. So I start attacking people, and I'm sure Fazio he's really good with interacting with the audience, which is something I admire about him, which is why at Anime Los Angeles, that's exactly what I did. I just kind of threw out my material and just started attacking people. I don't know if you were there for that.
I was there. I performed right after you.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You were. I apologize. It's first of all, I was really drunk, and secondly, I never do that. I never leave a comedy show because, in my opinion, whether you like the comic or not, they're all in the same field, and you have to support them because it's honorable. So, I should have been there from the start to the end, but because I was so smashed, I showed up when I was going on, and then I just left. And I apologize for that.
Oh man, you ain't gotta apologize to me. I got asked to perform 5 minutes or so before you went on.
Well.
And I was like, okay.
That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. The fact that you did it you deserve respect. See, that's the thing. Like, a lot of us are like, we deserve respect that we're not getting because we're in a crowd that doesn't understand comedy. And that's just the reality of it. Anime people don't understand in general. I mean, it's a broad statement, but in general, they don't understand the ins and outs of what makes comedy.
No, they understand anime.
Yeah, they understand anime, and it's not necessarily the same thing. So it's like, not to be arrogant, but we deserve a little bit more credit than we're given, maybe?
No, I agree. I think we all deserve a little bit more credit than we're given.
I mean, I don't think I do, because I think I'm genuinely a prick. And I think the people that hate me they're within their right to hate me. I think so.
But the thing about it is, if everyone was a fucking nice guy, then the world would be boring.
Yeah, and and I accept enemies, so kind of works out. I thrive off of that. Dude, I'm starting to pass out. I gotta go to work. Okay, no, but we're not ending this yet. This is a good conversation. So, what else about the podcast that you had a problem with?
Let's see, what was it? There was a conversation about Danny, talked about that. Oh god, I think I brought it up with the whole being dismissive about the other comics. Actually, you kind of set everything else pretty much in perspective by talking to Trung.
Yeah.
That kind of settled a lot of questions I had.
No, well, good. I'm glad. See, here's the thing. I don't give a fuck. And if you hate me one day, I'm like, I don't care. I'm still willing to talk to you. And personally, I don't like seeing anyone fail because I really do believe we're all in this together. And the fact that Trung failed so horribly last year made me upset because he's still one of us. We're all in this together. And when I called him out at ALA, I did that purposely to bring him out, to get something out of him, because I didn't want him to fade away, because I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't realize he had done PMX. I didn't realize he was doing Little Tokyo thing. And after talking to him, I realized he is, and he's still in it, and that makes me feel better. But, we're all in this together whether we want to or not, and we are. I've been pushing Yasi to do this because she's got it. Like, there's a certain thing that, if you go into acting, casting directors look for it. It's a certain thing. Like, if you've ever seen people on film, they look like they belong there. Then there's a reason why. The casting directors see it. First of all, Taylor Lautner, I think, is gorgeous, and I love him. But he is not film-worthy.
He's not a natural.
No, he is not. I think in Breaking Dawn Part 1, he did much better. He's learning to act, and he's still gorgeous, but he's not. He shouldn't be whoever casted him must have been a new caster, because they picked the wrong person.
Well, that whole team was a bunch of new people from the beginning.
Yeah, but Kristen Stewart, despite what people say, she belongs in film. What is it? I don't know his real name. Robert Pattinson, is that his name?
Yeah.
He belongs on film. There's a certain look that an entertainer has. It's something in the eyes, it's something in the face, and either you have it or you don't. And I'm completely lost my point. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We were talking about Yasi.
Yasi. Yeah. She has it. It's not just physical. She has it personality. She just doesn't exploit it, and she's not working as hard on it as she could be. If she worked as hard on it as I work as hard as I do, she would surpass me in a heartbeat.
Yasi and I are really cool people. Like, obviously I went to school with her and whatnot. We both were SMC kids. But,
dude, I asked her for a threesome. I'm not even joking. I don't give a shit if anyone else.
Here's the thing about that: you probably aren't the only one. I will say that now.
I'm sure, and she turned me down. It's such a disheartening thing. Yasi,
I admit, Yasi's a great looker.
Yasi, if you're still listening, the offer's still out there. My girlfriend is hot, and she's Jewish too, so they have the asses. Come on, just consider it. But anyways, moving on.
But I love Yasi. We pitch jokes to each other all the time. Her comedy style may not be something that, I myself am like, super huge fanboy over. But, I admit that she does have her moments. She has a lot of good moments. So, it's really one of those things where Yasi and I are just like, all right, let's kind of push each other. She'll call me. She'll be like, does this work? Does this work? And I'm like, yeah, it's all right. We'll kind of just like back and forth each other, which I enjoy doing with her.
Giggity. I wish she would. I wish she would do that more with me. She's only given me like a few jokes to actually critique, and I'll admit this. I'm her cheerleader. I'm constantly talking about her and like sucking her dick, if you will. And it's because I really want her to kind of push herself into being more career oriented, because I really think she has that spark that Hollywood likes, I really think she has it, and if she just works, she would be better than me. People would like her more. She would have a bigger fan base. People talk about me, and they say what they say, but in reality, I'm for a very selective group of people, and that group is very small. People like you, Danny, G, even Fazio, Yasi, you guys could be on Comedy Central. You guys could. I cannot. And yet, for some reason, I'm glorified. And it's kind of unnecessary, because I'm very alienating. I'm very specific. I will offend you. Uh, but you guys are all you guys have what it takes to kind of go past me. You know what I mean?
I think with you, it's you hit such a specific mark that people don't see or hear really much anymore.
What do you mean by that?
Because if you think about it, so many people are, to me at least, what I noticed, and I know this is a broad statement, but are kind of head buried in the sand when it comes to comedy.
Yeah, go
You
on.
got stereotypes who are like, okay, my idea, who's my favorite comedian? I don't know, Adam Sandler, George Lopez, some shit like that.
Okay, yeah.
You hear someone who's like, I'm gonna outright piss you off if you're not careful. I think that attracts a crowd because it's not common.
The thing is, okay, I might have said that my intention is to piss people off, but my intention is to, as a comic, is to talk about things that people won't, and make them think about it, and all under the disguise of humor. Like, I don't try to be funny. I try to make a point, but I do it in a way that's funny, so it's easier to accept. Like, a lot of my humor is talking about being gender fluid and being queer, and what goes on, and being transvestite and all that stuff. And I try to make straight people get it. That's what I want to do. And I had another point, and I don't remember what it was.
It's still not something that I hear much these days. That's the thing about it that I see.
The thing is, though, if you're going to hate me, I accept it. But if you're going to hate me for just pissing you off because you misunderstood me, I'm going to give you a reason to hate me. That's how I see it. Like, if you're heckling me because you didn't get the joke, then I'm going to give you a reason to hate me. And I'm going to talk about your dog and your family and how much peanut butter you used on your vag to get your dog into you. You know, that's the kind of shit that I do. But that's the last resort thing. I don't go into a show aiming to piss people off. I go into a show aiming to mock what people like and kind of make them look at it subjectively, so that they're not attached to it. Because, like, if you insult Bleach to a hardcore Bleach fan, they get personally offended. That's wrong. You shouldn't be personally offended. You didn't make it. You just like it. You have to put that in perspective, and that's what I try to do. That's the only thing that I try to do. That's what I've discovered that's what I do. I want people to kind of put themselves in perspective and laugh at themselves a little bit.
Yeah, and that's to me, that's it. That's the thing that I don't see, a lot of comics doing. I see a lot of comics doing sometimes the basic setup, a very okay, straight to the point, this is a joke, joke. But when I see somebody taking something that somebody would get themselves too overly attached by, and then mocking it in a sense, it's it's not even new, but it's new to some people. Mm-hmm. That's where an ironic.
That's where the art in comedy comes from. Like, people on the totem pole of art in terms of physical entertainment, I think film is at the top, then theater, then music, then magical acts, then juggling, and then comedy is at the bottom. And no one thinks of it as an art form, but it really can be. And a lot of people don't embrace that, and they just do kind of shticky one-liners that are just whatever. I mean, a perfect example is the guy with the puppets. What is his name?
Fuck, my girlfriend likes him. What's his name? I know who you're talking about.
I think everybody knows, but he is an example. I mean, to be easily accessible is to lose yourself. Because no human can be loved by everyone. You have to be who you are, and you have to be the flame that you are, and the moths will come to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also human beings are a lot more complex than that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and when I do the LCS and I don't get okay, the best show that I've ever done in my life in the past 6 years was at YaoiCon last year.
Okay.
That was the absolute best show. Not only did I make $30 in tips, but and have a really hot series of buyers, but everyone in that audience, they virtually gave me a standing ovation. I've never been so visibly loved. That was the absolute best show. And the reason why is because that was my audience. Those were the people that understand gender fluid. They understand sexuality. They understand how irritating it is being not bi but not straight, and kind of not man but not woman. They get it. It was my crowd, and it was the best show that I ever had, and no one will ever see it. And at the LCS, I go in there expecting to see my people, my fans, my handful of people I know are going to be there, but most of them are not going to get it. But I'm not going to change what I do just to get them. Either you don't get it, or you get it. I'm not going to adapt to you, and you don't need to adapt to me. If you don't like me, fine. I accept it. And a lot of people don't like it. That's why I'm saying I'll never be on Comedy Central. But I think someone like you, someone like Fazio, definitely, and if Yasi worked at it, G worked at it, you guys all could be on Comedy Central. I couldn't. I never will.
I see your point.
It's a depressing reality, but I accept it, and I will not compromise it. I'm not gonna be something I'm not just to get ahead. I would prefer to change the standards than to change myself.
And that's an interesting battle to fight.
Yeah, well, I got a sword. And I'm suicidal, so,
Oh, lovely.
I'll be long dead before I'm a cult icon. I'm telling you. Whether it's cancer or my girlfriend shooting me in the head, it's going to be something. I'm going to be long dead before I'm actually popular. I know it.
If she shoots you, can I sell a bullet on eBay?
Sure. I don't care. Well, as long as you give some of the money to her family, because, I still love her.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
So,
here's money you shot your lover in the face with.
Yeah, it's like a Phil Hartman. Man, what a loss we lost with him. He was so good. Such a natural. It seems like the greatest people die way too early.
Oh, yeah.
But not necessarily, because Louis C.K. Louis C.K. is still around. Bill Burr is still around. Jim Norton, Nick DiPaolo, they're still around, thank God. I don't know about Jim Norton, though. I think with his lifestyle, he's a little tricky. But we lost Patrice O'Neal. We lost Doug Stanhope's still around, but I don't know for how long, because that dude is just waiting to die. And that's one of the that's kind of one of the reasons why I idolize him, because I understand him. Like, I'm not suicidal because I'm depressed. I'm suicidal because I'm bored. Like, there's nothing in this world worth anything. Like, oh, I've fallen in love, or I climbed Mount Everest, or I discovered a cure. At the end of the day, who gives a shit? It's just days, and you're just waiting. It's just boring. Life is boring. Whoever said life is beautiful never lived it. Because it's boring and depressing and nihilistic, and so that's why I'm suicidal. I'm just fucking bored.
See, that's kind of why I always idolize Pryor and stuff, because, growing up with shit, having shitty ass situations of being lit on fucking fire,
yeah,
and still being able to crack a fucking smile at the end of the day.
Well, my mom always says, you gotta laugh. That's ever since I was a kid. That's something she always said. She still says it, and that's implanted in my brain, and that's, I had like the worst day at work today that I've ever had, and I was able to make fun of it, and so it's like a man fucking Frank over here, just fucking, the Nazis are coming down, but I'm a Jew, so I'm gonna make fun of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You got to laugh and you got to have balls, and I want to see more of these. Like, I want to see more of the LCS crowd and whatnot, and the comics get more ballsy.
I want to see I want to see him get more chutzpah. I want to see individuals. I want to see people discovering who they are and being that.
But like you said, that takes a support group, and I think that every comic needs to have all of us need to be our own support group, because that comedy at conventions page ain't it.
Not to be arrogant, but I think this podcast might be it.
Hey, everybody, come on, let's do it. Let's all gather around and hug.
I mean, I've had so many people here, people who might be considered enemies or any of that shit, and that doesn't exist. We're all nothing. We really need each other. Whether we like each other or not, we need each other. And like Danny knows it. Danny and I are friends now. We work through a lot of shit together. But I don't think he's funny. He's never made me laugh. I don't think he's funny. But he has his fans. And because of that, I got his back. You know what I mean?
I like what Danny does. It may not be my personal cup of tea all the time. I don't speak Spanish, so I can't get all the jokes.
I think he's shticky, and
but it works for him. It works for him.
I don't think it does work for him personally. I think he could be much better than what he's doing. But
that's like saying we could all be better.
Well, yeah, but he's not trying. That's my point. All of us are working. Like, not all of us. Like you, Trung, Fazio, myself. Damien's pretty funny as it is, so I don't think he needs to work. But we are trying to improve. I don't see it in Danny.
Well, I mean, from a person who's been around him like a lot, I see him do these shows. He drags me out to the Vegas to fucking do a show or something like that. I've seen him work at it. I've seen him, try new shit out on people, and I've seen him try new shit out on people and it not work, or it does work. I do see him work.
Well, that's cool, but to be perfectly honest, I think he is the worst MC I've ever seen.
I can't make a judgment call on that, really.
And I say that because the point of an MC is to make sure the show flows. And the only time an MC should ever say more than one thing is if the previous comedian didn't get a laugh. Like, if you're MCing and you introduce a comic, you do it quick, you snap into it, you promote the fuck out of this guy, the guy comes out. If he bombs, then you go out as an MC and you get the crowd back as quickly as possible. And then immediately move on into the next comedian. And if the next comedian kills, you get up there on stage and don't even act like you're there. Immediately bring the next comic on. And I think Danny is terrible at MCing because he wastes too much time talking. It's not about him, It's about the comics. And he goes up there and he's talking for 17 minutes before he brings out the next guy, whether or not the previous one was good or bad. And it's like, that's horrible etiquette as an MC, in my opinion.
No, and I can understand what you're saying. I can see what you're saying as an MC. That's an interesting point. That's actually a valid point.
Yeah, I've MC'd once. I hate it. I hate it so much. Because as an MC, you have to be kind of positive, and I am not.
Like, ho, come on, you guys.
Yeah, I hate that so much. But MCing is a step you have to take in order to be a feature or a headliner. And, so I was an MC a couple of years ago. I hated it, but I did it, and it hasn't paid off. But, you gotta earn the bruises. You gotta earn the blood stripe. You can't just be handed the award. You gotta earn it.
Yeah, that's true. Damn true.
I appreciate you being on the show. I appreciate the work you're doing. When you came up to me after my set and asked for a critique, I was so flattered because I thought you did pretty good. I mean, I can see where the improvement is, but the fact that you seem to have a general idea of who you are as a comic, and you, what can I say? If you know who you are, who am I? Who am I to say anything? But you came up to me and asked me for advice, and that was such a flattering thing, and you boosted my self-esteem by doing that. It's like, really? You care about what I think? I think that's the most mind-boggling thing, is that other people care about what I think, because I think the worst of myself. Like I said, I'm suicidal. And the fact that someone gives a shit about what I think, it just blows my mind. I can't wrap my head around it.
It's interesting to see things on the opposite perspective, you know?
I don't know. But was there anything else on the agenda for tonight?
Pretty much that's it for me. I mean, I'm glad you say I kind of not so much got myself an idea of who I am as a comic, but I'm glad I know who I am as a person.
That's the first step. I'm still figuring. I mean, apart from knowing that I'm suicidal, bipolar, and borderline personality disorder, and sex addict because I don't get any, and a drug addict because, again, I don't have any. Now I'm just rambling now. So
I'm just like, I feel like I just have a lot of anger, and I just need to get that shit out.
yeah. I think comedy is a good way to do that. If you can direct it and make it funny, it really works. Doug Stanhope is an idol of mine for doing that because of his frustration with life and the way he directs it, and people get it. It's like he's not making jokes so far as he's making statements that you need to hear that happen to be funny. He's almost like I don't know what he's like, but he's special. Doug Stanhope is an idol. He will always be an idol of mine. And I hope, like, I made a comment on my Facebook months ago, about that. I hope that I can open for him one day before he kills himself, because he's the kind of guy that's going to do it. As someone who's the kind of guy that's going to do it, I can see the kind of guy that's going to do it, and he's the kind of guy. He's not going to wait for cancer to do it like Bill Hicks did.
Who the fuck would want to wait for cancer to do it?
I say this all the time. The second I get cancer, I'm putting a bullet in my head, because I'm not going to die from cancer.
I'm with you there. No. I even told my friends that, and I'm like, if I ever get to the point where I'm that fucking decrepit, I can't do shit for myself, I'm in and out of hospital treatments, fuck that. Just give me the gun. Give me the gun.
Give me a guillotine so I could watch my head fall in the basket and be alive for like 13 seconds, but not really.
Yeah.
That'd be trippy. And then I'd want my girlfriend to pick my head up and just hold me around. See what you can see while you're dying? But I don't think she has the stomach to do that. Man, I wish she did. That would be a great way to go. You can't breathe, but you don't need to because you don't have lungs. So you're just kind of falling asleep. A beheading by a guillotine might be really relaxing, because you just fall asleep and then you're dead. You know?
That or jumping off the Empire State Building. I hear that's relaxing.
No, because the impact, you gotta feel that for a second.
I heard that they say people die before the impact. I don't know, like the heart, like I read something somewhere, this was a while ago, so I may have gotten it fucking wrong, but they said sometimes the heart just sort of like, fuck it.
Really? Like you die of fright?
Yeah.
I would rather die from a guillotine, personally. Actually, I'd rather, you know what, if I have cancer, I want to challenge someone to a gunfight, so I can go down like a baller, like fighting for my life, and then get shot in the head.
Cool.
Yeah, and, it's the Klingon way. I'm not a
sword and a shield, and let's see what I can do.
Yeah, I'm not a patach. I live with honor. Yeah, and I'm a Star Trek fan. What can I say? But that was a pretty good podcast so far.
Awesome.
I think it was good. It was nice having you on the show.
We got to do this again.
We will do this again. I think we should do this Friday and bring Fazio on, and you guys can go at it, because the fans love drama. All three of them.
Have you
played the latest Devil May Cry?
I have.
Oh, do you like it?
It's. I don't hate it.
I love it.
I don't hate the game. It has things that were done way better than the previous titles.
It's better than 4.
See, I didn't play 4. I played 1 and I skipped 2, and I think I played 3.
1 was the best. 2 was okay. 3 was better. 4 was And this one is, I love it. I just love it. And it might be, I might be biased because of Kat, the character I'm going to crossplay at AX.
Mm-hmm.
She's just so cute. So I'm going to cosplay her.
I think, I don't know, for me, one thing I noticed, and a lot of people say, oh, well, they weren't realistic in DMC, but I don't think the characters in this Devil May Cry are any more realistic than they were in the previous games.
No, they're not. It's all about style and over the top. That's what it's like the Tarantino of video games, and it's supposed to be.
It is. Which is why I missed the old way, because Dante was just so over the top, it was funny. Like,
yeah,
Rex's shit, and he's just like, I'm too cool to care.
Yeah, and you're right. That is, it's funny, and that's what made it. The first one was just such a good game. Nothing really tops the first game. I mean, I like how the second one introduced the gunplay where you could like multiple shots and stuff.
Yeah.
But they didn't exploit that enough.
Oh, they freaking retconned that one, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. You can't do that in the recent one. You couldn't do it in the fourth one either because who was the guy? It wasn't Dante. It was some other faggot. But he only had one gun and his buff hand because he masturbated a lot, I guess. I don't know, whatever.
The best thing about the new DMC, if anybody ever noticed, the Virgil Mobile.
Don't spoil it for me. I haven't gotten there yet.
It's not a plot point. It's just Virgil's car.
Speaking of which, you mentioned Nobody Knows My Name. That's my name.
Yay!
Everyone knows now.
I actually like calling you by your name. I don't know.
Virgil?
Yeah. Why not?
It's actually Virgilio.
Oh.
Yeah, Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, Spanish. Yeah. It's actually.
Also, you're playing Skyrim now.
What?
You're playing Skyrim a lot lately too. I noticed.
Oh yeah, you saw the pictures.
That's pretty badass.
I thought they were. No one seems to care. I think they're cool pictures.
Well, I love Skyrim, so fucking A.
Yeah, and that the hat makes my character look like Clint Eastwood, and I'm happy with that.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, man, this is straight out the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, that's what exactly. That's why I'm enjoying it. Just badass. And hey, do you have anything to plug before we go?
Check out my site, ragingnerds.net. He's been on it.
Yeah, I've been on it. I've been interviewed. I was in a sexy costume, and you won't know it's me because I look so much like a woman.
He'll be on it again, too. So, yeah, check out my site, ragingnerds.net.
We're doing the, yeah, I'm just going to say on the air. I don't care. I'm going to do Cammy at Fanime. So, are we doing another, like, functioning photo shoot that'll actually work? You know?
We'll actually do the proper photo shoot. My
Okay.
photographer goofed on photos getting
Yeah,
cool.
you know, it happens. It happens. No hard feelings.
Yeah.
At all.
And hopefully the interview will be a little more focused this time around, too.
Well, I was drunk.
Oh, it wasn't just you. I was looking at the footage. There was actually some people, like, in frame.
Yeah, and I was yelling at them. Do you have a handful of my YaoiCon fans have been wanting to see it? Do you have unedited footage of the interview? Because they want to see that.
Oh, no, I don't.
Because I distinctly recall insulting people getting into the shot.
Yeah, you did. I don't have fucking footage. I wish I still did.
Well...
Check around and see if I still have it.
Well, you know, if you don't, it is what it is. My Yaoi fans love me regardless. And to all my Yaoi fans out there, I love you. Okay, so now that we got that faggotry out of the way, so this is a really good podcast. Thank you for being on it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I need to go to sleep because I have to work tomorrow because, unfortunately, I still have a day job. Are you good for Friday?
Yeah, I'm down for Friday.
Okay, I think Fazio will be good, and we should have Brian, my co-host, will be on. I think it'll be a good four-way.
Giggity.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course I have the biggest dick, but notwithstanding. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being a friend. And go to ragingnerds.net. That's where you'll see all the cool videos. Justin's been doing. You've been doing interviews for a long time, haven't you?
Not as long as you think. Well, maybe like 2-3 years.
That's a long time for me. I mean, you've been at Comic-Con. You've got stuff to see. So, all my listeners, both of you, go to the site ragingnerds.net. Give us some foot traffic. Maybe he can earn a sponsorship. Maybe you'll be doing us all a favor. You know, we're all working together here, as fans and as entertainers. And so the next podcast I'm looking forward to, it's going to be myself, of course. Bryantist will be back co-hosting, and special guest will be Fazio and the one and only Raging Crow, the guy with the fro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so thank you for listening, and I love you, and good night.
Night.
That was a good podcast.